Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we've got our News Watch program. So we're going to be talking about a couple of news stories that have been in the news recently. Maybe you saw something on TV about these things, or on your phone, or in the newspaper, or whatever. So, yeah, we've got a couple of stories. One is all about social distancing. Remember, we're supposed to kind of keep a distance with other people so we don't catch the coronavirus. And then there's another story about fishermen or people who work in the fishing industry in Bangladesh, and they're having hard times.
Yeah, they've actually extended a ban on fishing for a particular fish called the hilsa, which I don't know, because they're running out of them in the ocean. So they're trying to keep the population of fish up, but at the same time, it's a hardship for the Bangladeshis who need that for food. It's a big source of protein for them. So we're going to start, though, with the robots and COVID, and then we'll move on to Bangladeshi fishing and the ban that they're placing on this particular type of fish.
Maintaining social distance with the help of robots. As one of the European countries hit hardest by COVID-19, Italy has seen a great burden placed on its medical system. However, as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention, and one hospital in northern Lombardy has come up with a technological solution to reduce contact between doctors, nurses, and patients. At least 150 doctors have perished in Italy during the pandemic, and in hopes of preserving the health of its medical staff, Cercolo Hospital has brought 6 robot employees on board. The little robots are about the size of an elementary school child, and they can monitor patients' vital signs as well as keep an eye on them with cameras. Doctors and nurses can thus supervise patients' progress from a secure location. The robots also carry a tablet computer that patients can use to speak with medical staff. While many patients wish they had more frequent face-to-face contact with doctors, they understand and accept the service these adorable robots provide.
Hard times for Bangladeshi fishing industry. Every October, the government of Bangladesh prohibits the fishing of hilsa for roughly 3 weeks. Hilsa is native to the country, and many people rely on it for food. This ban is a hardship for the approximately 1.5 million people in Bangladesh who count on seafood for cheap, accessible protein in their diets. It will soon be even harder for them, as the government is adding 65 days to the ban, as well as halting the fishing of other species of fish. So why is the government taking such drastic action? In 2017, the Bangladeshi government requested a report on fish populations in its waters. These results have just been delivered, and they are sobering. Overfishing has put Bangladesh at risk of immense fishless zones on its coasts and in its rivers. This outcome would be a disaster for workers in the fishing industry, as well as most Bangladeshis. The government hopes that the fishing ban will yield a recovery among local fish stocks.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's discuss the contents of today's lesson. It's our News Watch unit for the month of August. In fact, August is quickly coming to a close here, so we wish you the best of luck in your new school year. And our first story for today is all about social distancing. So we're trying to maintain social distance with the help of robots. Remember, because of COVID-19, we wanted to stop the spread of this virus by maintaining social distance. Just don't get close to people or have some kinds of barriers between you and other people, and wear those surgical masks at all times or most of the time. So, yeah, one way we can prevent the spread of this virus is through social distancing, but hey, robots are going to help us out with this. So let's take a look at the first paragraph here. It says, as one of the European countries hit hardest by COVID-19, Italy has seen a great burden placed on its medical system. So as one of the countries hardest hit, as here just means because it was one of the countries in Europe that was hit the hardest by COVID-19, well, Italy has seen a great burden placed on its medical system. So yeah, because of its big problem there, Italy has had a lot of trouble with its medical system because they've had a lot of work to do, lots of sick people, and not enough doctors, nurses, and equipment.
It really had a hard time. They were hit very early and very hard. I read that the average age of the people that passed away was 81. So they have a lot of elderly in Italy, and we know that COVID-19 was pretty hard on our elderly population. So it says here, as the saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention. Sometimes you're put into a difficult situation, and because you don't have some sort of equipment or tool that's needed, you think of something, That's when people become very creative and inventive and come up with something that will help in the situation. Remember, there was a doctor here in Taiwan who came up with that plastic box that you would put over the patient's face,
right,
so that when they were intubated, the doctors doing the intubation were protected. I thought that was so smart. I love that stuff. So necessity is indeed the mother of invention. That's a really famous phrase that we use. So one hospital in northern Lombardy has come up with a technological solution to reduce contact between doctors, nurses, and patients. We know by now that COVID was very contagious. So even being in the same room with someone who was sick, they didn't even have to cough or sneeze on you or anything. They could actually pass those germs along to you. So they needed to come up with something so that these people that were actually trying to help, the doctors and nurses, didn't have to be around the patients quite as much and could protect their own health.
That's right. So they've had some problems there, and at least 150 doctors have perished in Italy during the pandemic. To perish just means to pass away, to die, to kick the bucket, to cash in your chips, to punch out, etc. There are various ways to talk about dying, but this is the nice way, perished. Although if you do talk about maybe a relative passing away, you say they passed away or they're no longer here.
Perish would be used in a news story.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, they perished in a fire.
Yes, so like how many people perished in the
airplane
department
crash.
store fire or whatever, or in the plane crash or whatever. So in this particular case, at least 150 doctors perished during the pandemic, which of course is the epidemic that spread all over the world. And in hopes of preserving the health of its medical staff, we've got Circolo Hospital. They have brought 6 employees in, and they are 6 robot employees. They're not people, they're actually robots, so I suppose they don't need to pay them or provide health insurance for them or to give them vacation time and stuff like that.
Or punish them for talking back and not...
Discipline, like
being
get them
lazy.
On their knees and whip them and stuff like that. You don't have to do that with robots.
No.
You just change their programming or whatever if they've done something wrong. So we've got these 6 robots, and they have been brought on board, which means they've basically been employed by the hospital.
Right. I saw one of these robots on TV when I was watching the news, and they're very small. I think they're about like the height of a 6 or 7-year-old kid, and they use them a lot on board the cruise ships. The cruise ships that were stuck out in the ocean. They wouldn't let the passengers come off the ship or debark because they didn't want them passing along COVID to the people in that country. They were using these robots to deliver meals, and, maybe towels to the rooms where the passengers were staying on the cruise ship. So, yeah, they now have these 6 robot employees on board. Like Tom said, on board doesn't necessarily mean on board a plane or on board a ship. It just means if you're on board with something, you're agreeing to do it and you're working with some other people, and together you're going to solve some problems. So they have these 6 robot employees on board. Now, like I just said, the little robots are about the size of an elementary school child, and they can monitor patients' vital signs. You'll often see vital signs in a book you're reading, perhaps about a hospital, or if you're watching a television program and it's set in a hospital. When they check your vital signs, they're checking your pulse and your blood pressure primarily. Those are the most important things to see how well you're doing. Vital signs tell a doctor a lot about how they need to proceed with you, or if you're really in trouble, maybe you can't breathe, or your blood pressure's really high or really low. That can kill you.
And also, they need to keep an eye on those patients with those cameras. To keep an eye on someone just means to monitor them, to keep watching them, to make sure they don't get into trouble. You want to keep an eye on your kids, for example, if you're babysitting them, so they don't run out into the street and get hurt and stuff like that. And doctors and nurses can thus supervise patients' progress from a secure location. So therefore, doctors and nurses can supervise the patients. Supervise here just means to look over them and provide for their needs when they need something. Maybe if you're taking a girl out on a date or something, but you're a little young, you might need some parents to supervise you to make sure you behave yourselves and things like that. So here the doctors and nurses will supervise the progress of those patients from a safe and secure location. Secure here just means safe.
Of course, someone who supervises at work is called your supervisor, and they observe and direct the work that you do. You report to them. So they're supervising the patient's progress from a secure location, somewhere where they're safe. They're in a different room. They're not close to those germs, the bugs that the COVID patients can pass along. So while many patients wish they had more frequent face-to-face contact with doctors, and can I just add humans? They get so lonely, and that actually affects their recovery. Even though this is true, they understand and accept the service these adorable robots provide. Maybe they dress them up to look really cute, and put little wigs or hats on them. I don't know what they're doing, but they need to make them look fun for the patients. Adorable just means so cute, you can't stand it. Kids are adorable. Pets can be adorable. You want to be described as adorable. It's not a bad thing. Again, secure can mean safe, but also means a place that is fixed in place. It's fastened so it doesn't move. If you have a boat, you want to secure it in the harbor by using the anchor so that it doesn't go anywhere. But here it just means safe, someplace that someone won't be harmed. That's the end of our first news story, guys. We're going to listen to our Chinese teacher for a bit, and then we'll be back to talk about why the fishing industry in Bangladesh is in trouble.
Hello, my name is Shelby. 现在中文讲解，医疗机器人出现了。第一段第一句，作为新冠肺炎严重打击的国家，意大利的医疗体系负担沉重，有家医院想出科技解决方案。第二句 come up with something 表示想出提出solution 解决办法，解决什么的办法，再加 to 名词， a solution to this problem 这个问题的解决办法。第三句，至少有150名医生在意大利死亡。 perish 死亡相当于 die， perish from cancer 死于癌症。后半句，为了维护医疗人员的健康，这间医院已经雇佣了6名机器人。动词 preserve 保存，句为 on board， board 是板子、布告栏或董事会等。On board 表示成为团队的一员。 Welcome on board 欢迎加入我们。不过它最原始的用法是表示上车，例如说 Everyone is on board. 大家都上车了。第二段第一句，虽然小学生的大小，他们可以监测患者的生命迹象。要表示什么什么的大小，就用 the size of 点点点。例如 the size of our office 办公室大小。Vital 是生命的 vital signs 生命迹象，常引申为重要的。例如下一句后面的 of vital importance 用 vital 来加强 importance 重要性，强调非常重要。第二句中间有个 put forward 提出， put forward opinions 提出意见，也可以表示将钟表调快。Put my watch forward 3 minutes 手表调快3分钟，并可以透过摄影机留意患者。到最后一句，虽然病人想跟医生面对面，还是接受这可爱的机器人。Many patients wish 许多病患希望，wish 希望的事情通常是无法实现。他接的句子用假设语气，假设现在动词用过去式，在这句子句 they had 是过去式。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's continue with our News Watch unit. We just got done talking about maintaining social distance with the help of robots in Italy. Hopefully, they can bring the number of COVID cases down significantly. Now, let's talk about what's happening in Bangladesh. That, of course, is a country in southern Asia. It's to the east of India, maybe a little south of India. There's a weird part of India that kind of surrounds Bangladesh there, but it's located on the Bay of Bengal there. And so we're having hard times for the fishing industry in Bangladesh. And if you're looking for an adjective to describe anything having to do with Bangladesh, you say Bangladeshi. The Bangladeshi fishing industry is having hard times.
It sure is. Well, every October, the government there in the country of Bangladesh, they prohibit the fishing of a fish called the hilsa herring. It's got a lot of different names, to be honest. They ban it, they prohibit it for 3 weeks, which is 21 days. You're going to want to remember that because we're going to talk more about that time period in a minute. Now, if you prohibit something, you say something cannot be done. If it's prohibited, it's probably against the law. So that if you do something like smoke on an airplane, you're going to get in trouble. You may not be put in jail, but you're going to have to pay a fine. Smoking, of course, is prohibited at a lot of places now where it used to be okay. So the hilsa fish is native to the country. That's their fish. So this fish didn't come from China or South America or the U.S. It's native to Bangladesh, and many people rely on it for food. It's like a staple crop, something that they've relied on for a long time, like rice or noodles over here in Taiwan. This ban is a hardship for the people, and they've got about 1.5 million people in Bangladesh that really need the fish. Hardship is a situation that's very difficult for someone to go through. It could be that you lose your job, or maybe you broke up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. That's hard. Or maybe you've lost your house. You couldn't make your house payment. There are a lot of things that people go through while they're alive. Sometimes it's bad health. Those are all types of hardships.
Right. Of course, there are millions of people in Bangladesh, but we've got 1.5 million people there who are affected by that. So, yes, this ban is something that's difficult for these people in Bangladesh because they rely on seafood for the cheap, accessible protein in their diets. Okay, danbaiji, that's protein. So, yes, we need a certain amount of protein in our diets every day. Most people get it from meat or dairy products, but you can also get it from certain kinds of beans and things like that. But, yeah, it's a cheap source of protein in their diets. And, of course, you need a mix of carbohydrates and protein and
You really
fat.
don't even need any carbs.
Yeah,
Your body doesn't even need them, but we love them, don't we?
They just taste oh so good.
They do.
But protein, of course, is important, and it will soon be even harder for them, or even more difficult for them, as the government is adding 65 days to the ban. That's a lot there. That's about 2 months there.
Wow.
So instead of the 3 weeks, now we've got an additional 8 weeks or so.
Wow.
So that's a major hardship for those people. Where the heck are they going to get their protein? And in addition to adding 65 days to the ban, they're also halting the fishing of other species of fish. Wow, that seems kind of extreme there. To halt here just means to stop something. So, my goodness, for quite some time there, they aren't going to be able to fish. Imagine if there were some kind of ban like that here in Taiwan. People would go crazy. Seafood is such an important part of the Taiwanese diet. What would we eat without fish for 3 months?
Yeah, that's a big, big hardship. I can see why it's hard for the folks. Halt is something we don't use often. When I see this word halt as a verb, I always think of the movie The Sound of Music, when the little Nazi boyfriend is chasing the families. They're trying to get away. They've just performed, right? They've all been singing beautifully. And they're trying to leave the country to get away because they're going to be arrested. And that Nazi boyfriend says, "Halt!" which means stop. But yeah, they're stopping the fishing of other species. So why is the government taking such drastic action? Tom just said a word that's very similar to drastic, and that's extreme. Wow, that's so extreme, or that's so drastic. What are they doing this for? So it's pretty radical that they're actually going to halt all the fishing. In 2017, the Bangladeshi government requested a report on fish populations in its waters. How many fish are actually living in the oceans around them? Bangladeshi is the word we use to talk about anything belonging to the country or the people. So they're Bangladeshis. And the Bangladeshi government, instead of saying the Bangladesh government, we're actually using the adjective.
Indeed. So the government of Bangladesh, or the Bangladeshi government, requested a report on fish populations. They wanted a report concerning the amount of fish in the waters of Bangladesh, in the rivers, lakes, or whatever.
Yeah.
And these results have just been delivered, so the report has been published, and they are sobering. Sobering refers to the word sober. If you've been drinking alcohol and you were drunk for a while, and now you're not drunk anymore, we could say you are sober. You haven't had any alcohol. But if something is sobering, it kind of wakes you up, and you realize that something terrible is happening here. So yes, it's sobering. It's information that's going to make us stop and think, if we don't do something about this, we're going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, so it's sobering. It makes you very serious very quickly because you realize something's not a good situation. Overfishing is when you go and you fish too much and there just aren't many fish left and they have to breed and repopulate. You know, those are important things. So overfishing has put Bangladesh at risk of immense fishless zones on its coasts, along the ocean, of course, and in its rivers, the freshwater fish. Now, immense just means really large, very big, especially in scale or degree. So we're talking about immense fishless zones. A lot of areas where you can no longer find fish because there have been too much overfishing over the years. This outcome or result would be a disaster, would be a mess for workers in the fishing industry, as well as most Bangladeshis. Yeah, it's not just the people not getting the fish to eat and therefore getting that protein. It's actually a way a lot of people make a living. They're fishermen.
Exactly. So, again, that's a big problem with these immense fishless zones.
Yeah.
Without that fish, they're not going to be able to get enough protein. And this outcome, or this result, would be a disaster for workers in the fishing industry as well as most Bangladeshis. So, of course, that means you're going to lack protein in your diet. And then people who work as fishermen or people who pack and sell the fish and sell it at markets and things like that, they're going to be affected as well. They aren't going to have that income. And the government hopes that the fishing bans will yield a recovery among local fish stocks. So this is what the government hopes. They want this to happen. They're hoping that these bans on fishing will produce or yield a recovery. A recovery here is just when things return to their normal state. Of course, the economy is terrible now as a result of the pandemic, but hopefully the economy will recover in a couple of months or a couple of years, and we'll be back to normal.
Hopefully. Recoveries are good things, but before you have a recovery, you have to suffer, and that's what we're going through now. Right now, I think it's time one more time. It's time for our Chinese teacher. Let's listen.
好，第一段，孟加拉政府禁止捕捞石鱼。石鱼是孟加拉的原生物种。在第二句中的 native 形容词，土生土长的，用法 be native to somewhere 表示是在哪里原产。Hilsa 这种鱼分布于印度洋，很多人仰赖它当作食物。Rely on 依赖，相当于 depend on something 或者是 count on something。例如在下一句中 who 子句中的动词片语 count on seafood 依赖海产。这些便宜易得的蛋白质提供他们饮食。可是更糟糕的是，现在不但延长禁捕的天数，还禁止其他鱼种。第五句为什么这样子做呢？ Take such drastic action. Take action 采取行动，再加上形容词说明是怎么样的行动。Drastic 激烈的。好，开始起作用，我们也可以用 take action 来表达。这个药会 take action soon 表示这药很快就会起作用。第二段第一句，孟加拉政府要求一份当地鱼群的报告。动词 request 要求，后面加名词或者是 that 子句。而 that 子句中的动词要写成 should 加原形，应该怎么样？而 should 常常可以省略掉。例如说 I made a request that he should come soon. 我要求他快点来。结果呢？调查结果令人震惊。And 子句中的主词 they 是指前面提到的 results 结果，而 sobering 令人惊醒的。原来调查结果很糟糕。第三句 put ... at risk 将什么东西置于危险之中。 Risk 是危险，过度捕捞使沿海处于没有鱼的危险。另外，若在 at 和 risk 中间写上所有格，表示谁自己冒险就要自行负责。例如说，这里不准停车，会被拖掉。如果一定要放这里， he is at his own risk 他自行负责。我们到最后一句，政府希望禁渔令能让当地鱼群恢复。好，动词 hope 和 wish 比较一下。 wish 可以接名词或代名词做受词， hope 则不行。例如可以说 I wish you to go with me， 不能说 I hope you to go with me。 wish 和 hope 都能接 that 引导的子句，但 wish 后面的子句要用假设语气，而 hope 则用所需要的时态。以上是今天的讲解，谢谢收听。
That's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and here's hoping that all of your news is favorable news.
Yeah.
Good news. So that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again next time. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.